Він положив душу не тільки за свою родину, але за всю нашу державу, де відстоював кордони нашої держави.
Viktor Kucherenko was killed at the front line of the fighting between Ukraine and separatists backed by Russia. His remains were brought back here to his village. The fighting started in 2014. Since then, over 14,000 people have been killed.
When you hear about civilians or soldiers dying, it's usually just as a statistic, but being here at this funeral really hits home the grim reality of war, and that is that behind the numbers there are people, families and communities that are completely devastated.
На початку 23-ї години задзвонив телефон, і командир сповістив, що ваш син загинув. Прийміть наші співчуття. Він загинув як герой. Втратити найріднішу людину на війні – це страшенне горе.
Who do you hold responsible for the death of your son?
Уряд Росії, уряд України. Чому вони до цієї пори не можуть знайти спільну мову для того, щоб примиритися? Чому наші діти повинні там помирати?
A ceasefire was declared 7 years ago, but the fighting never stopped. Now Russia appears to be threatening a full-blown military offensive, deploying more than 100,000 troops, weapons and fighter jets to the border, and demanding that Ukraine is never allowed to join NATO, a concession the alliance has ruled out. Meanwhile, the White House has warned of an imminent attack by Russia and has put 8,500 troops on heightened alert for a possible deployment as part of a NATO response force.
If he invades, it hasn't happened since World War II. This is the most consequential thing that's happened in the world in terms of war and peace since World War II.
Командир, пусть ускоряются, тут просвет.
Ukraine soldiers say they're preparing for a possible Russian offensive, all whilst continuing to fight separatists. The front line in the Luhansk region is where Viktor Kucherenko served.
We're being taken to the point where Viktor was killed. We just had to run here really quickly because we're very close to where the Russian separatists are. So this is a very dangerous point.
Тільки обережно, пригибайтесь. Get down.
How far away from here are the separatists right now?
Приблизно 300 метрів. Вони можуть підходити ближче. В цей час використовують снайперський вогонь, аби вразити наших бійців.
Deputy Commander Timur Stutsky was on the front line the day Kucherenko was killed.
Це був звичайний день, такий, який нині. Здебільшого було тихо, як це завжди відбувається. Спочатку кулемет почав працювати. В цей час під прикриттям кулеметного вогню спрацював снайпер. Ну і певно, що Віктор отримав поранення несумісне з життям. Він був відповідальним солдатом, доброю, компанійською людиною. Знімав різні відеоролики для себе. Ну, це було його хобі.
Can you explain to people who don't understand what it's like to lose someone at war?
В цілому зрозуміло, що ми якби люди військові і повинні це сприймати менш емоційно. Ну, для мене особисто ці втрати дуже тяжкі.
In 2014, when the conflict first started, Ukraine found it very difficult to defend itself against Russia and its military capabilities. How have things changed since then?
Сьогодні стан справ кращий набагато. В принципі, солдат не думає про те, де йому взяти бронезахист або шолом.
Do you think you have enough weapons to be able to take Russia on, or is there anything that you think you need more of?
Це певно, що протитанкові керовані-ракетні комплекси «Джавелін» – це та зброя, в принципі, яку дуже сильно противник, примітивно кажучи, боїться.
Ukraine's ground troops are better equipped and better trained than they were in 2014. But Russia's air force and navy is still much bigger and far more advanced. That's why Ukraine continues to push Western countries for sanctions on Russia and for weapons, like these Javelin missiles sent by the United States. But not all NATO members are on board.
We're being taken to a secret location in the east where Ukrainian forces are training using Javelin missiles. These missiles have actually been moved closer to the front line so that in the event that there is a Russian offensive, they'll be able to deploy them very quickly.
Ви так одночасно виходите, двері відкриваєте, виходите, як беременні таракани.
These anti-tank missiles are primarily used to hit and destroy armoured vehicles, and the reason why countries like Germany are so against NATO providing lethal weapons like these is because it could be seen as an act of provocation by Russia. How important are weapons like these for your army to be able to repel a Russian attack?
Протитанкові системи «Джавелін» являються досить потужною зброєю. Доповнюють самі систему протитанкової оборони, яка створена зараз в операції Об'єднаних Сил. Третій доповідь про готовність. Зазначені підрозділи ми проводимо приблизно 3-4 рази в тиждень. Солдати являються повністю підготовлені до надання відсічі збройної агресії. Ми на війні.
Yet in an effort to keep the nation and economy calm, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has played down the threat of a military escalation.
Сьогодні ми не бачимо більшої ескалації, ніж вона була раніше. Так, збільшилась кількість військових, але зараз ситуація, я не вважаю, більш напруженою, ніж вона була тоді у пік.
His Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dmytro Kuleba, is standing by that message. President Zelensky says that the threat level currently remains the same as it has done previously, and that it hasn't increased. Do you agree with that?
We do not underestimate the level of threat, but we've been fighting this war since 2014, and we understand that anything can happen at any moment.
But We're hearing very, very different things from the United States. It sounds like two different messages. Do you understand that that could be confusing to people who are currently monitoring this situation?
We are on the same page with the United States when it comes to the assessment of the threat. But while President Putin hasn't moved any additional Russian soldier or Russian tank into Ukraine, we already suffer economically and become weaker because of the panic spread in the society. Therefore, markets and people should understand one thing, that Ukraine and its partners are united in deterring this and in preventing the worst case scenario. Because we all have to remain strong. We shouldn't allow President Putin to get what he wants without even crossing the red line.
Do you feel you are supported sufficiently by your Western allies?
It would be an exaggeration to put all allies under one brand, because every support differs. The United States have been extremely helpful in providing Ukraine with necessary military support, in mobilizing some members of the European Union. Some countries are not doing what they could because of the lack of political will.
Who are they?
Let me remain diplomat here, but we are working.
Have you ever met with President Putin before?
No.
You've never spoken to him?
I have never seen him.
If you could speak to him, what would you say to him?
Mind your own business. Take care of your own people. If he concentrates on the welfare and the future of Russia, instead of concentrating on spending billions on waging wars and cyber attacks and posing military threat to different countries around the globe, Russia would have been a different place, a much better place to live. And we would have had less a headache.
So far, the United States and NATO have rejected the possibility of sending ground troops to support Ukrainian soldiers. Stetsky and his battalion will continue to defend eastern Ukraine, but he says that not everyone here might want to be defended.
Do you believe that you have the support of the civilians who live in eastern Ukraine, all of them? Or do you think some of them might prefer to be under the control of Russia?
Людей, які підтримують те, що ми робимо, Збройні Сили України в цілому, в цій боротьбі, в цій війні, саме на сході України, не так багато. Тут люди вважали росіян своїми братами, тому місцеве населення може ходити там, десь посміхатись, допомагають, працюють на ту сторону, передають певну інформацію, коригують вогонь артилерійський.
Do you think that there could ever be a diplomatic solution to stop this war?
Може обмежити їх від відкритої війни, відкритої агресії. Але в цілому, щоб закінчити цю війну, необхідна зміна політичного керівництва Російської Федерації.